Everybody, MashCorp's here with another video mock review. This time with something not involving Bionicles whatsoever. I got a little bored the other day. I just bought a bunch of the Combiner Wars figures, which I sadly have boxed up now, so I can't show them for this review. But I got those, most of the Sunicons, but I wasn't really happy with how Menasor looked, and I'd heard the issues about his like hip joints being kind of terrible, so I didn't get him. Instead, I got the Cyclonus Galvatronus thing, which is a very cool set. And the whole Combiner Wars are great, in my opinion. But kind of being disappointed in how that Menasor looked, I decided I'd just build one. So put this to the side for a second. I built this tiny little Lego Menasor. It doesn't transform. None of these guys do. But I built this guy, had a little fun with him, and then later in the day I'm like, I want to try this again. So I built Bruticus, and we're out of focus. Never mind. Yeah, wow, the focus is just not wanting to work. It was working a second ago. I'm also outside because it's a nice day out, and it's my last day here. I leave for college tomorrow. So I thought I'd just enjoy some of the scenery. It was focused when I started the video, come on. Maybe if I move them back. No, move the camera. Why are you so interested in the chair? Alright, well, I'm going to see if I can... If I get real close, is that going to work? No? Give me a second. Alright, I think... Ignore the car. Okay, I think that'll work. So like I said earlier, these guys don't transform. But that, I don't know, that's fine, in my opinion. At least for me, because... I mean, I wanted to make them in like this smaller scale, you know, and I didn't really care necessarily about the transformation, although you could argue, you know, like at least with the lower legs, if you just pop them off. I mean, that's like, ignoring the little pack, that's more or less a car for, you know, this kind of size. Because the legs on all like G1 type of characters are always pretty simple, pretty similar to their vehicle modes. Even with like stuff like Predaking and stuff like that, they're still pretty similar. But yeah, for Menasor, I have it set up with, of course, Motor Master as the torso. I have Dead End. I don't really have a lot of maroon, so I just went with red. I think that's fine. Drag Strip there, Wild Rider, and then Breakdown as the leg. You also notice they don't have, and that's a sword, they don't have the purple hands and feet. Because that was just like, I don't have really purple pieces that are small enough to do that. I don't know, I think there was a Mixel wave that had it, but I don't think I got that wave. So yeah. So yeah, and speaking of Mixels, as you can tell, it's pretty much just built with Mixel pieces. Ball jointed arms, got the elbows, hands are just clips, ball jointed legs and knees. The feet are kind of interesting because they bend, like they have a ball joint, a Mixel joint there, but then on the back they have this heel piece that turns and then can also tilt. This one's pretty tight. They're not as tight on Bruticus. And that does actually help with the posing. I find getting them to balance because of the feet don't have a lot of tilt. They have a lot of like this down movement and not a lot, and a little bit of up, but not a lot of tilt. And of course, as you can see on the back, pretty simple. It's got a sword which just clips on there. I didn't give him his gun because it didn't. I don't know. It's the sword. Pretty simple. Everything's pretty simple on these guys. I'd be hard pressed to think that someone couldn't really figure this out if they really wanted to. Or even, and there's a possibility that you could try and replicate it and actually do it better than I did, because it's not It's definitely not perfect. I mean, the arms could probably be done a little bit more, like they look more like cars. You know, like with the legs, I actually tried to kind of get the hood and the windows and stuff like that. But with the arms, I just kind of went straight for the colors. I didn't really put a lot of effort into making them look like the cars. So maybe someone else can fix that. The head does turn. It's kind of a pain, but it does turn there. Doesn't really have the horns. I just went with like, whoa. I just went with these two circles. I think that works good enough. So yeah, that's Menasor. So put him back in the background. We can move on to Bruticus, who is taller. So let me see if I can tilt that without destroying the white balance. Hold on a sec. All right, that should work better. Just raise the camera a bit. Oh. All right. So yeah, Bruticus is a little bit taller, as you can see, like with next to Menasor. All their pieces are about in the same place, like their legs, their feet, knees, all that, shoulders. The only difference is that Bruticus's head is taller because it's not sunken in like Menasor's is classically been, where it's got like the little thing around it. So he's a little bit taller, which I think evens out the proportions, but also makes his proportions. I also think it makes his like shoulders look kind of weird when you bend them out like that because they're a little bit lower. But it could be a lot worse. So Bruticus, unlike Menasor, like I pointed out which things I use for Menasor because his arrangement is a lot more like wishy-washy, I guess. There's a not super defined setup for him, you know. But with Bruticus, it's very defined. You know, you've got Blast Off, Vortex, Swindle, and Brawl, and then of course Onslaught is the torso. Like that's standard. You know, everyone expects that out of him. So yeah, I got Blast Off. Good use of the brown. The Vortex, again, it's like the Vortex is I would think, or I've always thought of him as having like a darker blue, like a navy almost. Or I think in G1 he was actually like a like a very slightly tinted blue gray color. But I thought I'd just go with blue because I personally like the blue, and it breaks up the gray, which his torso is mostly made out of anyways. So as you can see, he has the big cannons on the back. You can't really see the top of those. Yeah. They don't really tilt forward unless you remove, like you can remove the backpack, put it up higher, and then they'll fold over. But it's not really worth it. And if I put it any higher so that they could tilt over, they just look way too high. Like they're already pretty low down on his back here. The gun's in the way there. Yeah, you can see. But I think, yeah, it's got the classic like slope in the front there. The blast off arm has the propellers here. That's what I was trying to mimic with that. I thought it would make him kind of too wide, but once I evened it out on this side with this slope piece, it actually looks fine. Lower legs, it's more gray. Swindle, you can see again I did the windows. This is black here, which I don't know, you could say is the tires, but I kind of wish it wasn't there. The feet are just silver, which is actually accurate to him. Here on, oh, do not grab him by the guns. All right, that sounded weird. Anyways, got Brawl here. There's the little tank cannon. I wanted to put this in black, but couldn't find the black one. So I think gray just works. It works fine anyways. I also wanted to do green here, but I couldn't find a green 3x2. Which I don't know. I don't know if I own one of those actually. I can't really think of a set that came with that, but I'm sure it exists. I just don't have it. And then the black on the back actually works with the treads. So there's that. And then, anyways, speaking of the back, that's where he keeps all his weapons. So the main. Well, I'll start with these. He has these two. The clip on the back of his thighs. He has these two shotgun kind of things, handguns, which were kind of like they weren't. I don't think they were G1. I think in G1 he just had his big cannon, which I do have, which I'll get to. But But these were kind of inspired by the Fans Project Colossus cannons, which I thought were really cool. You know, the ones that split in two. And these split in two too, but I mean, the individual guys aren't going to use them. It's kind of annoying that they tilt up though, because then it looks kind of awkward in his hand, because his hands don't tilt at all. You know, when you hold a gun, it doesn't, like, you don't tilt it up. So it's a bit weird. But I still think it's cool that it gets these like dual wielding action pistols, and they fill out sort of his form. I made this guy a lot bulkier, as you can probably tell, than Menasor, and they help fill out his form there. And then back just clips on there. Yep, is his main big cannon. It actually kind of looks like Optimus's iconic cannon, but I think it works just as well here. It's pretty big. Let's get a pose with him. One the cannon up, back here, and put Menasor in a little pose as well. There you go. So yeah, fix his feet a little bit there so they look more solid. There you go. So yeah, these were some Mellow guys. This channel actually was originally going to be about Lego Transformers, and technically my first ever upload, which never processed, is a Lego Transformer of my own design. Like, it actually transforms, it's my own character. But then, I don't know, after that first failed upload, I don't know if I got discouraged or I just, like, didn't do anything after that, and then I got into Bionicle. And then that's what I made this channel about, because I'm infinitely better at Bionicle than I ever was at anything Transformer related. But I am very proud of these guys. So a couple size comparisons. I don't know. Cyclonus, because he's a pretty average deluxe. Gives you an idea. Put on this side. Comes up a little bit below his chest. Or maybe if any of you guys have this, here he is with Fans Project Colossus, which I've had for a while. And again, I got the idea from, I've modeled a lot of this little Bruticus off of him and the G1 design. Speaking of with this guy, I'm just going to go freehand here for a second. I am missing part of him. Like this opposite, this cannon, which stores the hand, so you have the hand. This cannon piece is accessory that came with munitioner. I don't have the other one, or at least I can't find it anywhere. So if anyone knows where I can get that, or like a super cheap second munitioner swindle character, or if they have one they're not using and are willing to send to me, that would be very heavily appreciated, because he looks kind of naff this way. But yeah, if you guys don't have that set in some capacity, it's very, very cool set. You should look into it. And then those of you who know my channel more for Bionicle, here's a better comparison with a Kimu, who I got a little while back. Good set. Pretty happy with him. But yeah, they're actually pretty similar in size to Kimu. Although Kimu kind of looks like a giant beast in comparison because of the proportions. I removed his gear function. I was going to make him hit him. Yeah, I removed the gear function because it just got in the way. I don't like it. Whoa. Kimu almost fell. Alright. So that was Lego Transformers, Menasor, and Bruticus. Probably my last video for a long time, because I am going to college, and that means I really don't have time to record this kind of stuff. Plus, I videoed pretty much everything in my collection at this point that I have currently built, at least in Bionicle. And I mean, I don't really delve that much into other stuff nowadays. But yeah, I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you guys next time.